President Trump cruises to victory with a record-breaking Republican turnout.
Trump got more total votes than Obama got as an incumbent.
Republican turnout operation in Texas is extraordinary.
Complete domination.
Receiving more primary votes than any sitting president.
We're winning. We're winning all over.
We had record turnout for an incumbent president.
The Republican Party has never been unified like it is now.
Turnout was also huge for Donald Trump.
President Trump celebrating a record-breaking victory.
It's not even a party, it's a movement.
More than President Obama had by a wide margin.
Let's realize how good Donald Trump's political operation is.
To all Americans tonight, I'm with you, the American people. I am with you, I will fight for you, and I will win for you. And we are going to keep America great.
Hey everybody, and welcome to Team Trump Online. We're so excited to have you join us again on our new digital platform. This is the new way we are campaigning in the days of coronavirus. Joining me tonight is former White House press secretary, an amazing woman, my friend, Sarah Sanders. Sarah, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. It's great to see you, even if it has to be over a computer instead of in person. Always great to be with Team Trump and certainly with your family.
Thank you. Well, I want to first ask, how is everybody in your house doing? I hope everybody's healthy. How's it going having kids for weeks on end, kind of there with nothing to do, homeschooling? Tell us how it's going for you.
So far, so good. All the kids are healthy and the rest of our family is very healthy. So we're thankful for that. Homeschooling is a little bit more of a struggle. I've always appreciated the teachers across this country, but never have I appreciated them more than I do now. I'm a little concerned my kids may be regressing, but thankfully they're young enough that they have a lot of school that they can make up this time where they're under our tutelage. But they're doing really great. And it's been, we've spent a lot of good family time together, and we're trying to be thankful for that instead of worried about all of the exterior factors that we can't control.
Amen to that. I hear you. We tried to do 15-minute sessions with my son's teacher and a couple of kids from class on Zoom. It's, let's just say, I hope we don't have to do it for too long. Now, moving right along, I want to talk to you a little bit about the president. You obviously worked so closely with the president when you were in the White House dealing with tough issues. How did he handle making tough decisions, Sarah?
Right now, I think that we're seeing the president take every step possible. He is literally moving heaven and earth, trying to do two really important things. Number one, save American lives. And number two, save American jobs. He is literally, I think, doing all things possible to make sure he's doing the very best for this country. And I spent a lot of time with the president. One of the things I always loved about him is he surrounds himself with a number of different opinions and voices. He can take in a vast amount of information, process it quickly, make a decision, and implement it quickly, which is really what you need in a time of a crisis. And you're seeing him do that both on the health side and the economic side. And I think he's done a really good job of trying to kind of bridge both of those things and really prioritize everything that needs to take place for the country.
Yeah, absolutely. And listen, I think his background in being a businessman in some ways, having to think on the fly, having to make tough decisions, it might actually help him right now. I think for all of us out there, we can agree this is an unprecedented place. We've never experienced something like this in our country in modern history. I don't think any of us would like to find ourselves in the position the president's in, but I agree with you. Listen, he's done such an incredible job with this. And you just brought up, balancing the health and safety of the American people, but also the economic impacts. he not only, Sarah, has a group of people around him who are handling the coronavirus specifically, the task force that he's put together under the vice president. He also has economic advisors and people that are talking about how we get the economy back on track. How do you think he's done with, I guess, making sure that the people of this country know that the economic impact will not be forever and that he has, them in mind every step of the way, and the economy, the future of the economy and their households?
I think he's the perfect president for this time because we need somebody who is unconventional and somebody who is not lost in the bureaucracy. That's one of the things I love about the president. He is so much more focused on the people and not the paperwork. And that's just a time, never in our country's history have we needed that more, is a president who is so focused on the prosperity, the safety, and the security of the people, and not focused on the process and the paperwork that so often comes with government. He has been so willing to cut the red tape and get it out of the way and make sure people have what they need. We saw him do that through the legislation where they're putting $2 trillion back into the American economy to help protect American lives, to make sure that states have the resources that they need. In particular, I think one of the things he understands, you mentioned the fact that he's a businessman. He knows what it's like to run a business. Right. He knows what these companies, big or small, need in order to survive in a time like this. And he's making sure they have the resources to do that through that legislation, providing, I think it's close to $350 billion for small businesses across the country. And those are really the backbone of the American economy. And so making sure they continue to survive and thrive long after this is something that I think the president is uniquely qualified to do.
Yeah. I want to talk about the press briefings that we see from the president. I mean, Sarah, I don't know if we've ever had a president stand up in front of in the press briefing room for hours on end every single day, but we see him in these press conferences every day. It's really impressive. There's no question that he won't answer. He wants to get all the information out there to the American people. But some of these networks, ironically, the same network, Sarah, who said they wanted more press briefings from this president, are now refusing to air these briefings. You've had a lot of experience dealing with the media. What are your thoughts on this?
Look, this is hypocrisy at its very worst. I did over 100 press briefings in that very room where the president is standing, and yet it was never enough for the press. The very people who are refusing to air the president's briefings are the very people who said I wasn't doing enough. Now they have a president who's willing to stand up and take tough questions, and not for 10 or 15 minutes. I mean, he's going for an hour and a half. I've been in that spot, and it is not an easy place to be for 30 minutes, much less an hour or more. And he's doing it. He's doing it well. And he's providing vital information to the American public. He's showing transparency of all the actions that they're taking. I think it's shameful that these networks who constantly demanded more access and more briefings are now not airing the ones from the leader and the commander in chief of our country. I mean, to me, it is mind blowing that they wouldn't be not only airing them, but re-airing them because they're providing important information, guidelines, updates that the American people need and deserve to know.
Yeah, listen, people are thirsty for information right now. You want all you can get. And the president, to his credit, for hours on end is standing up there giving everybody what they want to hear. But of course, hypocrisy, like you said, at its worst. Now, it's also interesting, Sarah, to think about how when Nancy Pelosi was handing out her famous impeachment pens and the media was breathlessly covering that ridiculous impeachment sham, President Trump was founding the coronavirus task force and implementing travel restrictions. Now, Democrats and the media are, of course, saying the president didn't act early enough. What are your thoughts on that?
Once again, they want to rewrite the facts. They're certainly entitled to their own opinions, but they're not entitled to their own facts. The president took early and decisive action that frankly saved American lives. If he had not halted travel with China as early as he did, what we're seeing right now would be, I think, drastically worse. And he also stopped travel with Europe. He's made sure to take very, again, decisive and bold action. He's extended the social distancing guidelines well into the month. he has done everything he can to help protect American lives. Frankly, the Democrats should be joining with him and helping in this effort instead of trying to politicize it and divide the country for political gain. I think that is shameful and disgraceful. And I think at the end of the day, the people that are going to come out and look bad in this process are those that were wanting to make it such a political process instead of focusing on what matters, like the president is, in trying to protect lives and protect American jobs.
All right, Sarah, sit tight. We are going to take a quick break and we will be right back. Everybody stay right where you are. We'll see you in a sec.
Text Trump to 88022.
Text Trump to 88022. Text Trump to 88022.
All right, everybody, welcome back. I'm here with Sarah Sanders. Sarah, I want to get into Joe Biden for a second. What do you think about Joe Biden's interviews he's been doing in his basement? I mean, is this what Democrats really think is their best shot at winning the White House? They seem kind of like they're unscripted, but bumbling, but he's got notes in front of him. What do you think of that?
Honestly, I think it's kind of sad. It's very easy for Joe Biden to sit in his basement bunker and attack the president. But what is really hard is leading a country in a time of crisis in the way that the president has. I think the contrast for Americans and for voters in November could not be more clear than it is right now. And it's on full display what a real leader looks like, and somebody who, frankly, I don't think you want leading the class party, much less the country, as we're seeing in the style and what's coming out of Joe Biden and his team over the last several weeks and months.
Yeah, he has now come out, Joe Biden, in support of the president's travel restrictions from China, when initially, don't forget, he first called them xenophobic. What do you think this says about how behind the curve, I guess, Joe Biden is when it comes to making executive decisions?
I think it just continues to show he's completely unprepared to lead the country. He is not ready to make tough decisions. That's what being a leader is all about. It's not about all the things that we know are coming down the pipe. It's about dealing with things that you have no idea are going to be on your desk. No one knew that under this president, we would have a global pandemic that he would have to make big decisions on, but he's made the right decisions. He's taken big and bold executive decision. And I don't think we would see that under a President Joe Biden. And we've seen that unfold, unfortunately, in real time as he sits in his basement and tries to become relevant while the president leads. Again, the contrast to me is very simple. Do we want somebody who has the ability and the capable tools to lead our country in a time of crisis? Or do we want someone who some days we're not even sure if he knows what race he's running for? I think that the president is doing all the right things, and he's not doing it for political reasons. He's doing it because he loves this country and he wants to protect it and preserve it and make sure that it carries on for generations and generations to come.
Yeah. You know, Sarah, I keep saying how lucky I think we are that we had President Donald Trump in the White House leading up to this pandemic situation that we find ourselves in now, because we had historic numbers when it came to our economy, to jobs, to low unemployment numbers. We really were firing on all cylinders as a country economically. And thank goodness, because leading into this, it really gave us, you know, a really great place to start. Obviously, we've seen what has happened over the course of the past few weeks as our economy sort of figures out what's going on. The stock market figures out what's going on. But you think about Barack Obama and Joe Biden, who saw maybe one of the worst post-recession recoveries in the history of this country. Now, when we come out of this, and we will come out of it as a country, we want to know that we have someone in the White House, Sarah, who knows how to get the economy going again. Why would Joe Biden think that anybody would consider him as being a good candidate for that?
Honestly, I don't know. That's a question you'll have to ask the Democrats. I've never pretended to understand the way that Democrats think, just because most of it doesn't make sense to those of us who have just good common sense. I think not only has the president done such a great job on building up the economy and putting us in a position that we're able to survive and come out on the other side of this, but he's been right on so many other big issues that we're now seeing just how right he was, whether it was putting such a huge emphasis on American manufacturing, making sure we had secure borders so we know who's coming in and out of our country, being tough on China, and putting us in a position where we can stop that travel and all of the different components that he's been talking about over the course of the last several years, even on the campaign in 2016, we're seeing come into full light right now under this pandemic. And again, the president has been right all along and put us in a much better position to come out on the other side and come out stronger as a country when we do.
Yeah. Now, I want to talk, you referenced earlier the relief bill for this country, the $2.2 trillion relief bill. Joe Biden recently said that he would like to use the potential phase 4 relief bill to pass the Green New Deal. Sarah, I can't even figure out how somebody would think that that is what we should be focused on right now.
Sometimes you have to wonder if Joe Biden's been with one of the groups that were on the submarines that were not allowed to see some of the news coming in so that they could stay focused on their mission, because Joe is clearly not paying attention to the world around him and doesn't realize how disastrous the Green New Deal would be for the American economy, for American jobs, and just how ridiculous it is that that would be a focus of what we need to do when we have all of the challenges that we're currently facing. Again, the president is on the right track, and frankly, America agrees that he's on the right track. We've seen poll after poll that shows his approval rating is up, poll after poll that says they trust him more on the economy and dealing with coronavirus than they do Joe Biden. I think that the president is making the right moves. And again, he's not making them for political reasons. He's making them for the right reasons. And that's because he loves the country and wants to do a good job.
Got that right. All right, Sarah, one more quick break. Everybody stay right where you are. We will be right back with you.
Text Trump to 88022 to keep America great.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Sarah Sanders joining me. Sarah, for our final phase of questioning here, I think the biggest question of all, to wrap it up, why is it so important that we re-elect President Donald Trump?
I think it's real simple. We have a president who absolutely loves this country, and he loves the people of this country, and he understands what makes America special, what makes America unique is the people. He knows that the very best of America is represented in individual Americans across the country, and he wants to see them continue to thrive. He wants to see them continue to prosper, and he wants to make sure we do everything we can to maintain the America that we all love. This is a president who's done a spectacular job in just 3 years, despite facing tremendous challenges, tremendous adversity. He has still come out on top, and he's still beat all the odds. Why would we ever want to change course of the path of success that we're on right now? I think we have a great president who's done a great job, and why wouldn't we want him to have 4 more years to continue the path of prosperity and success that America is on?
Oh, love it, love it, love it. Absolutely right. Well, Sarah, I want to say thank you so much again for joining us tonight. I hope that you and the whole family stay safe and sane throughout this entire process. Thank you for being with us. And I want to say thank you to everybody at home for joining us tonight as well. If you get involved with Team Trump, you can text Trump to 88022 and join our winning team. So until next time, everybody, stay safe out there.